I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Hey, this is the Gabby Mac Project, and here's my 25 cents on today's topic. For you younger people, there was a movie that came out in 1976, and now it's considered a classic. Now, the name of that movie is Network. The star of the movie was Peter Finch. In the movie, Finch played the role of a veteran TV news anchorman named Howard Beale. Now, you see, Beale was an aging TV news broadcaster whose show was suffering low ratings, and word was going around that he was going to be fired. Now, shortly after learning that, Beale went on a live broadcast and he went off script. I mean, he went really off script in a big way. During the broadcast, he announced that he was going to commit suicide on live TV. Now, in the movie, Beale went on a long rant to let out all of his frustrations with the world. But in what has become an iconic moment in the movies is when Mr. Beale says, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Beale then urges his viewers to go get out their chairs, go to the windows, stick their heads out and yell, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Okay, fast forward 40 years later. Black men are now saying that same proclamation. We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. But instead of saying it on TV, they're using the internet. And their voices and messages are being championed by a pretty large contingent of internet content creators. For my 25 cents. The overriding messages seem to overlap, and they relate to the sorry state of the black community and the corrosive state of black relationships. Now, I watched a fair amount of videos on the internet over the last few months. I mean, a lot. And what I've observed is an evolution of some of these guys and girls. In fact, what I've noticed is that these content creators are no longer being subtle. Their voices have strengthened. And the legion that follow them are even more supportive. The opposition sees it too. And they, the modern women fraternity, have been fighting back to maintain the status quo. These women are loud and they are vindictive. They are some nasty human beings. And they are using every tool in their toolbox to try and destroy the content creators with opposing views. They try shaming, name calling, whatever it takes to keep the men quiet. Here's my 25 cents. None of that is going to work this time. You see, the message about how to strengthen the black family and how to build better relationships has an audience. And not only with men. Some women are joining the ranks, and that's what really have the modern women terrified. I've watched some of their content creators, and I have to say they look deranged. And their arguments are not just resonating in today's environment. It just isn't. You see, the men and women who are listening to the manosphere want a different outcome because they've seen and experienced what's happened in and to the black community over the last 50 years. And to a large degree, they are dismayed and saddened. They have witnessed up close how matriarchal type family structure have been detrimental to the black community. I mean, just look at the disproportionately high rate of childbearing outside of marriage that has occurred since the mid-1960s. I'll bet some of the manosphere's adherents are themselves products of households without fathers in the home. And that's what some of these women don't get. You can't alter someone's personal experiences with lies, as modern women try to rewrite history. The people are following the manosphere have seen up close the rise in crime, joblessness, poverty, and dependence on welfare. Now, that dependence on welfare programs meant that women-led households replaced having a man and marrying him to marrying the government to receive a guaranteed monthly check. So when these women received handouts from the government every month, there was no necessity to get married. And you don't have to be a social scientist to make the point that black people are getting married less than in the past. These statistics show that prior to 1961, the percentage of black men and women being married was around 61%. Since then, that percentage has dropped to around 38%. But although the number of marriages declined, people were still having sex. And with sex comes the possibility of producing a child. And that happened at an alarming rate. As the number of single mothers rose to about 78%. Just think about it. 78% of children being born are being born into households headed by single mothers. Absolutely dreadful. But society, with the do your own thing mentality, has normalized that behavior. And it has been accepted by way too many people. And the voices that did say this isn't the best situation for the black community were relegated to cheap seats and shouted down. Now, statistics prove the point. But how do you stop the trajectory? First, you have to accept that there is a problem. And that's a very, very hard sell, especially when the people you are talking to have a vested interest in making it look like everything is okay. It's never easy to get people, especially unmarried females with children, to accept that they made bad decisions. It's even harder to do when evidence has a face. The face of a baby, a youth, an adolescent, or a young man or woman who is sitting across the table from you. But it should be uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. How can you not have seen the benefits of having a man or father in the household? If nothing else, pure logic should have convinced everyone that household with a father is a better deal, a better situation. To know that ideal is lost is absolutely madness. It's intuitive, pure common sense that a father acts as a counterbalance to a mother's emotional outpourings. Furthermore, fathers provide the discipline, the logic, the familiar covering that contribute to a successful household. All the studies show that having a father in the household is linked to better outcomes in every measure of a child's well-being. Having a father around improves cognitive and educational achievement, as well as self-esteem and pro-social skills, i.e., how to get along with others. Maybe we'd have children with better manners. Statistically speaking, fathers in the home result in 39% more children getting mostly A's in school. And children with fathers in the home are 45% less likely to repeat a grade. And those with fathers in the home are 60% less likely to be suspended or expelled. And the children were twice as likely to go to college and find stable employment after high school. And it's also worth saying that children with fathers in the home were less likely to have a teen birth. and 80% less likely to spend time in jail. Now, wouldn't that be great? Now, maybe a residual impact would be us killing us less. Here's Gabby's 25 cents. The internet has been a godsend, and it has allowed black men to stand up and yell, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. The manosphere, as a collective, provided a voice to the voiceless. And as we know, once the genie has been unleashed, it's damn near impossible to put him back in. The manosphere and the content creators who are attempting to provide solutions to correct what has happened to the black community are in a battle. They have had the audacity to challenge the status quo. And as such, they have been under a serious barrage of verbal arrows. But the best part for creators like Kevin Samuels, MTR, the Poor Man's Podcast, et al., is that their attackers are inarticulate, vulgar, and loud. And when you can't make a coherent, clear counter argument, you lose. Not only are men in the manosphere holding their own, the legion of like-minded supporters seem to be growing. And to some of the content creators' credit, they are playing offense, not defense. They aren't sitting in their bunkers and taking incoming fire without responding in kind. But you can only do that if you believe in what you say. And I think they genuinely do. But what has also happened is the people I see on the internet, for the most part, are articulate and can succinctly present their cases to the masses in well thought out, understandable, and sometimes humorous ways. Their detractors, on the other hand, are for the most part inarticulate, vulgar, and very loud. I'm sure their messages will be resonate with a very small but loud group of like-minded people. But I think for the most part, the majority will sign on with the manosphere. I'm sure that content creators know their support is increasing. And when you are authentic and people start believing that you believe what you're saying, then they reward you by listening even more to your ideas and more to your solutions. What I find fascinating is it's one thing to talk to an audience of believers, but when your message starts to resonate with both sexes, its impact is exponentially strengthened. I, I've even heard a few female YouTubers join in. A shout out go to Erica Lachey and Courtney Michelle, who do great work. And there's truth in that old adage that there is strength in numbers. Right here is where I summarize some of the reasons that black men are saying, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. First of all, they are tired of black women down talking them. Second, they are tired of being disrespected as potential leaders. Third, they are even more pissed off that black women will use a man's child as a weapon to punish the father. But to close it out, black men are really angry that black women won't allow them to be the head of the household. And that is probably going to be the hardest nut to crack, especially since it's been the other way around for decades. Giving up power voluntarily is a hard sell. We have to see how that plays out. In closing remarks, let me salute all my veterans, active duty service members for keeping us free, and to all my police men and women and firefighters for keeping us safe. Because of all you do, we can voice our opinions on the internet. Until next time, Gabby Mack, signing out.